This is Larry Weissoon, and you're listening to Outdoor Adventures with Jayson.
Welcome to Outdoor Adventures with Jayson. Each week, I bring the world of hunting, fishing, and conservation to you. From the great hunting and fishing opportunities found in the Americas to the dream safaris located on the dark continent and beyond. I'll introduce you to those who are already out in the field living every outdoor enthusiast's dream, as well as outfitters and gear manufacturers that can make those dreams your reality. Welcome to this week's episode of Outdoor Adventures with Jayson. Real excited today. I've got somebody on that does a lot of hunting from New Mexico and Colorado, but is also a fellow Michigander. I've got Chris Guikema on, who runs Compass West Outfitters. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing really good, man.
I appreciate you coming on. I've been watching your website and looking at the photos out there, and I saw the hunting that you were able to do with Dan Catlin for the late season elk. It was just an amazing animal.
Oh, New Mexico's got some great opportunities for people looking for elk, with longer private land seasons and premium high-quality draws. It's a hunting paradise.
So you've been an outfitter for how many years now?
I started guiding full-time in 1992, and then I moved down into New Mexico from Montana to essentially start and operate my own business down here, and that was in 1997. So I guess I've been a full-time outfitter and guide in New Mexico since 1997.
And you specialize just in New Mexico and Colorado?
Yeah, at this point, those are the two main areas. We'll go outside New Mexico and Colorado on request and work with other people in other states. I've got, buddy outfitters in Arizona, and I've got outfitters in Nevada that we work with. We'll all operate as a guide if I have good clients that have drawn special tags and they want me to tag along.
Oh, fantastic. So going in and I'm starting to learn about all the opportunities that are available in New Mexico to hunt, and you don't really think about it. It's just a fantastic paradise for anybody.
Oh, for sure. Aside from incredible elk and mule deer, we've got one of the cooler lineups of exotics. We have oryx or Gemsbok that were released on the White Sands Missile Range in the late 60s. And then we also have Bezor ibex that were released in the Florida mountains on the Mexican border as well in the late 1960s. And Barbary sheep or aoudad, they're the southern three-quarters of the state. There's Barbary sheep kind of here and there all over.
Now, the ibex and the Gemsbok, those are a once-in-a-lifetime draw, correct?
The oryx hunts are all once in a lifetime on White Sands Missile Base. Ibex hunts with a rifle are once in a lifetime, but there's a lot of people that if you draw the muzzleloader or the archery hunts, you can continue to put in for those hunts, and it's not a once in a lifetime tag.
Oh, fantastic! So you can try to go back over and over to finally tag out.
Yeah, exactly. The ibex, it usually takes a couple shots with archery equipment for sure, and then the muzzleloader hunts and the rifle hunts, they're pretty much 100%. But the archery hunt is arguably probably the hardest hunt in North America.
Oh, I would think so.
With a bow.
From what I've heard, those Florida mountains are some of the hardest terrain you can get up in.
Yeah, it's rough country. It's all real loose, little tiny rock with concrete dirt. Everything on the surface of the dirt rolls under your feet. You spend all day kind of on pins and needles because every step you take, you're waiting for your feet to shoot out from under you.
Yeah, that definitely can't be fun.
No.
So you have a great website. I'm going through. You actually have two of them at this moment. You have compasswestoutfitters.com and you have 200inches.com. Now, when I'm looking at this Compass West Outfitters, it looks like if I'm coming in from any other state, not only can I book a hunt with you, but you're going to give me the ability to look at either guaranteed tags or help me navigate the New Mexico Parks and Wildlife Department's website to put in for drawings.
Yeah, for sure. The way it works in New Mexico is it's a pure lottery system. It's the only pure lottery in the West. What that means is, unlike states like Colorado where they have a true preference point system, or states like Nevada and Montana where they take you get a point for every year that you apply unsuccessfully, or states like Arizona where every year you're unsuccessful, they put your name in the hat an extra time. New Mexico, everyone's on the same level playing field every year no matter what you apply for. It's an intimidating thing for guys, especially that are getting into this, to look at all the different states and all the different rules. So we just try to make it one-stop shopping in New Mexico, and it's just as easy for me to log in, create you an account, and get you an application put in the outfitter pool, which is for the 10% of the tags for any given hunt in the state. And, we just try to take care of you that way.
Oh, really makes it nice for somebody coming in from out of state to, I guess, be able to work with you, and you're really going to take them by the hand and lead them to save them a lot of time of putting in for potentially bad units or wasting time when there's, as you said, there's not a preference point pool where you can flip around and learn from your mistakes, so to speak.
Right. And, in New Mexico, you have pretty much two ways to look at the tags. You have opportunity units and you have trophy. Pretty much the southern half of the state, the Gila, the Sacramentos, or the Lincoln National Forest, those two areas, you're pretty much dealing with true trophy potential, where on any given day you're in the field, you could see and hunt and kill a 350 or better bull. You go to the northern part of the state, and those are more opportunity hunts where, there's some 320, 330 and bigger bulls for sure. But for the most part, with the exception of some incredibly well-managed large private ranches, most of the northern part of the state is an opportunity hunt. You've got 20, 30, 40% draw odds and smaller bulls as a general rule.
Interesting. And is that just because you've got a larger population of hunters up in that area?
In New Mexico, you've got a migration influx from Colorado that comes in there, as well as just a herd that's more so managed for opportunity rather than trophy potential. The state, in my opinion, the state's not really looking to manage the northern tier of New Mexico for, age class bulls. Whereas in the Gila and in the Sacramentos or the Lincoln, I do believe the state kind of tries a little harder to achieve, that 5 to 8 year old age class on the bulls that are being taken.
Okay, so they want to keep that as a nationally known or world known trophy area.
Right. So the way that works for us is if you're looking at coming hunting for trophy bulls, and most guys look at New Mexico as a once-in-a-lifetime sort of trophy opportunity, although you could draw years in a row. The way it works is guys come to us and there's an outfitter contract that we have to have in place. Once we've gotten that taken care of, then we'll just put you in for 3 units or 3 areas or weapons. It doesn't matter. In New Mexico, you can apply for an archery, a muzzleloader, and a rifle hunt all in the same application. We'll put you in for 3 trophy areas that we agree on, and we'll just do all the work for you. It's just as easy for us to go ahead and try to help you out. Then if you're unsuccessful in the draw, then what we have in New Mexico that's kind of unique is we have landowner vouchers. That's where New Mexico really sets itself apart from some other states, where the state kind of compensates the ranchers and private land owners for damage to fences and everything else by wildlife by offering landowner vouchers. So you can, if unsuccessful in the drawing in New Mexico, you can go ahead and buy a voucher for almost any specific unit you want.
Oh, fantastic. And obviously, the more the trophy unit, the higher the tag cost is going to be.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge fluctuation. There's some stuff up in northern New Mexico where landowner tags sell for, $1,000 to $2,000. And then you go down into the Gila, and the tags in the Gila, like in Unit 15, can sell anywhere from $6,500 to $7,500. 16A and 16D, because there's so few licenses in there, you're looking at $12,000 or more.
Wow.
And then you go over in places like the Lincoln, and you're looking at, $55,000 to $7,000 on average for tags.
But that's the area you're going to pull a big bull out of, most likely.
Yeah, your potential is there. Guided hunts in New Mexico really set the bar for people's experiences. My camps are full of guys that have been on other hunts in other states, and, some of them have not seen elk before. Some of them have, seen cows or raghorns or something like that. And, we always kind of joke with guys when we get them in camp like that, where the guide's going to hold their bullets until it's time, because we don't want them shooting the first bull they see, because we want them to get that, upper age class bull as bad as they do.
Yeah, they get all excited. excited.
Oh, for sure.
With all these different areas in New Mexico and even in Colorado, you can really help somebody tailor a mule deer hunt or an elk hunt to just about any budget that works for them.
Oh, for sure. If guys have a higher disposable income, obviously the landowner tags come into play a lot more often. For your average guy that's looking to go out there and have I love telling people that if you're looking for that life-altering experience in the woods, a rut hunt in New Mexico is going to do it. Guys are crazy for $13 application fee. They're crazy not to apply in New Mexico every single year, because by April 26th, if you drew or not. And if you didn't, then you can go to plan B. You can look at Colorado over the counter. You can look at Idaho. There's a lot of other stuff you can do.
Okay, so it gives you a real leg up by the way that New Mexico structured their draw system.
Yeah, for sure. It's early enough in the year to make another plan. And, it's just, for $13 at a world-class hunt, man, it's absolutely the best bargain in elk hunting.
Neat. Now, tell me about the sheep hunting that you do.
We guide sheep throughout the state of New Mexico. The tags are extremely difficult to get. We specialize in a few areas, and we always work with clients to try to put them in for the areas that we like the best. The draw odds on sheep anywhere in the West are painful, but, New Mexico's no different. The only difference here is in New Mexico, you can apply for both Rocky Mountain and desert in the same year on the same application. So you could put like a Rocky Mountain sheep tag as your first choice and a desert as your second and go from there.
Theoretically, that's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You could potentially get drawn several times.
Well, you could get drawn several times on Rocky Mountain and desert, but that would be the end of it. Once in New Mexico, once you've drawn a Rocky tag or a desert tag, you are ineligible for that species from then on.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, our New Mexico sheep tags are all truly once in a lifetime.
Well, I guess that you certainly then hope to be successful, because once you're drawn, that's
it.
Yeah,
for sure. The success rates on those hunts in New Mexico are, right around 100%. You can look at the odds, and, I would say usually if there's the occasional, guy that zipped, either didn't hunt or got in over his head with the physicality of a specific unit. We specialize in stuff and tailor the choices to the client's needs. I've got some guys that are, they're ready to throw an 80-pound pack on their back and go backcountry for a week. And then I've got other guys that, need a little bit easier hunt. And New Mexico has a lot of choices where you can kind of tailor that.
Well, speaking of the choices, one thing I discovered, and this is what I think is so neat about New Mexico, is I am considered handicapped. I'm mobility impaired. And so for somebody like myself, I can go to work with a guide like you, and New Mexico is just very liberal from what I understand as far as accommodating me so that I can continue to hunt. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. New Mexico has a great mobility impaired program where, kind of like getting a handicap placard in your state, if you go in and with the state of New Mexico register yourself as mobility impaired and your doctor signs off, you're able to apply for special hunts. New Mexico has several hunts for elk that are in the rut with a rifle where you can draw those tags, and your draw odds actually, in comparison to the rest of the hunts, are pretty good. They have mobility impaired mule deer hunts as well as antelope and oryx. And there's really special seasons that offer a great opportunity at trophy animals.
And that's what I think is so amazing is I'm not going to be put into a pool to do an early or late season hunt only. There's potential for right in the middle of the rut for me to experience that as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's 3 hunts in New Mexico, one in the Lincoln National Forest in Unit 34, and then there's one in 16A and 16D. And arguably those are probably the 3 best elk units in the state, in my opinion. And, those are units where you can go in there as a mobility impaired hunter with a rifle, get first crack at them.
Fantastic. Sold. We're going to have to talk later. I think I'm going to come over to do an elk hunt one of these years. At least I'm going to start putting in for it.
Oh, there you go.
And
your odds of draw go up substantially once you start to apply.
Exactly. So once you are listed, from what I see, I can walk very limited distances, and theoretically has to be fairly flat ground, which means my chances of ever going ibex hunting are slim to none. For the elk, if I understand right, I can actually ride in the vehicles until we spot an animal and then put a short stalk on it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, depending on your mobility, yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can also in New Mexico, you can also shoot from the vehicles if you're certified mobility impaired. We had a guy 2 years ago that was wheelchair bound, and then 5 years ago we had a guy that was completely wheelchair bound, like couldn't move from the chest down, but he was able to fire a gun. So he had a special shooting bracket that he put on the top of the window, and he was able to shoot from the vehicle and take his elk that way.
Oh, fantastic. What a forward-thinking process to make sure that everybody, regardless of ability, has a chance at getting out there and enjoying everything that New Mexico has to offer. It's one of the best programs I've heard across the country. And I'm sure other states have similar programs, but I'm just becoming more familiar with New Mexico's, and I think it's a great, great opportunity.
Yeah, for handicap hunters, it's super, and then New Mexico takes it another step further for hunting ability. And, they've got one of the best youth hunting programs in the country. I mean, there's special youth only seasons for ibex, oryx, elk, mule deer. And then the most incredible one is New Mexico has a Rocky Mountain bighorn and a desert bighorn tag that are for youth only hunters. And kids' odds are, 5 or 6 times better than my odds of ever drawing one of those tags. So what an awesome experience would it be to be a kid and draw once in a while, or to draw a bighorn sheep tag when you were, under 18.
Wouldn't that, you'd be ruined for the rest of your life.
Quite possibly.
To have that kind of chance, it's really that forward thinking of the New Mexico Parks and Wildlife Department and everybody involved to the efficient management of the resources that all those various people are considered for the outdoors. They're taking care of the future hunters, they're taking care of the current hunters, and they're taking care of the hunters that have any type of mobility issues. I think that's really should be applauded.
Oh, for sure. New Mexico's great in that. Just those hunts right there. I mean, it's awesome to know that you've got the ability to do those hunts here.
And how is for somebody that's mobility impaired, is there ever a chance of taking a bighorn?
I mean, depending on the person's ability to get around, the Rocky hunts are going to be pretty tough. I mean, you could, if you're able to ride horses, then you could definitely do a little bit more stuff. Like the Pecos is probably the gentlest of the bighorn hunts that we have. The Latier and Wheeler Peak are both, they're really rough. But, the Pecos, if you can walk on relatively flat ground and ride a horse, you could probably get yourself a sheep in there if you were able to draw the tag.
Oh, fantastic. So it really gives everybody a lot of opportunities.
For sure.
And now you you own Compass West Outfitters, but you do a lot of outfitting yourself, do you not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the field for most of the fall. I start hunting hopefully in mid-August on sheep, and running trail cameras and everything else. And then we hunt right through, I hunt through the middle part of January, and then I start a little bit with a few sport shows, and then we continue to hunt right on through parts of February with Barbary sheep.
Speaking of those, what shows would people most likely run into you at?
The last couple of years, I've trimmed it down quite a bit, but all I've really been doing the last few years is I've been doing the Huntin' Time Expo in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I've, for several years, done Harrisburg in Pennsylvania at the Great American Outdoor Show.
Oh, fantastic. And I've never been to the Harrisburg show. Do you like that one?
Man, it's long. It's 9 days. It's really, in my opinion, too long. I get the basis for it. I mean, I think one time I was told there's like 8.5 million people within 3.5 hours of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So, I mean, when I look at the guys whose information I gather, it's Maryland and New York and Maine and Ohio and Indiana and Iowa and Michigan. And I mean, guys are coming from all over to come to that show and see what's there, so it's neat for me to be there and meet so many different people, but that's a show for me personally. I've got to weigh my time at home and my time on the road and kind of figure out if that show's worth a continued meeting.
Yeah, that's like you said, you can see because of the sheer quantity of people around why they are. You couldn't fit everybody in on one weekend, like a Dallas Safari Club show or a Grand Rapids show. But like you said, that is a lot of time in a hotel.
Oh yeah, man. No, I mean it's excruciating being there for that long, and it's nice. It's just tough because being out west, I understand the draw. I mean, I apply in Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado and Utah and I apply in Wyoming and Idaho and Washington and Oregon. I mean, I chase points all over the place. Being of that mindset, I understand it. But to go back east and explain to these guys that come up to your booth and they see all the pictures of the giant elk, as soon as you say draw, they just shut off. I mean, they're like, well, we want to go this fall. And they just don't understand how important it is to play the game.
Well, are they able, using that as an example, is there private ranch hunts, or do they still have to be drawn in that department, in that unit, to then do a private ranch?
Well, I mean, there's always private ranch hunts, but I'll sell a handful of private land stuff in Harrisburg and in Grand Rapids every year. But, the thing with private land is, like the ranches that we lease in New Mexico, through trying to manage what we have available to us and just through making sure our landowners are getting fair compensation for the elk, it's become, it's an expensive proposition to hunt private property. I mean, most of my private ranch hunts on, the cheaper end start around 85 or 9,000 and go up to 11.5. So I mean, there's nothing cheap about hunting elk in New Mexico on guaranteed tags.
But, supply and demand, so to speak, and wanting a trophy elk in the United States knows your two options are New Mexico or Arizona.
For sure. I mean, and, the thing, Arizona's great, but it takes a lot of years to accumulate the points it requires to draw. Same with Colorado. I mean, it takes years and years, and you might never catch the point creep in Colorado. Wyoming's getting way up there on points as well. New Mexico, it comes back to the level playing field. I mean, right. It's every year. Are you going or not? Maybe, probably not, but you got to try. Your draw odds are somewhere on average between 6 and 8% on the really, really good units. And then, your odds of drawing are somewhere between 6 and 12% if you expand into archery, muzzleloader, or rifle within the best 4 or 5 units in the state.
Wow, so you're still
looking for a $13 application fee, you're crazy not to try.
Great. So we got March cutoff for putting in for the draw in New Mexico, and then you'll know fairly quickly if somebody that you helped out with the draw is picked, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The way we try to work it in our office is we like to have most all the applications, contracts done and in our files by March 15th, and then we'll apply everyone between March 15th and March 22nd. And the reason we wait so long is because the state of New Mexico is an upfront license fee state. So what that means is at the time of application, the state's going to take your license fee as well as a $13 application fee from you at the time of application. So we'll wait until after February 15th. We will apply you for the hunt, and then on April 26th, the draw results will post. And then usually by about May 5th or 10th, you've got all your money back less the application fee.
Or you're planning a trip to come out to take whatever you got drawn for.
Yeah, hopefully that's the deal. But, as a good example, if I was good, let's say I had your contract in my hand and we were going to take care of you and it was the 15th of February, I would begin to put you into the state system. Because you're certified mobility impaired by the state of New Mexico, your mobility impaired number would be on your customer identification account. So I would log into your account. I would apply you for 3 premium hunts. Now, the license fee for the quality high demand hunts in New Mexico is like $787. So the state is going to take that $787 from you when I apply you, as well as a $13 application fee. And then you'll get all that money back, sometime in early May if you're unsuccessful in the draw.
So basically, I'm going to pay to reserve my spot in the drawing. And then if I'm not successful, I get everything less the $13 fee back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same for all the species. So, it's an expensive proposition if you start to look at, let's just say I was going to apply you for elk at, let's just say 800, Gimsbuck at 1600, Ibex at 1600, quality mule deer at 355, and bighorn sheep at $3,100. It's a lot of money you put on the line each year you apply in states like New Mexico that are upfront license fees, but you get it all back.
Yeah, they just want to make sure you've got skin in the game and aren't just monkeying up the draw system.
Right. I think my personal opinion on some of that is in years past, I think it was a lot easier to put, your kids, your wife, your buddies at work and everybody else into the draws, which kind of stuffed up the applications, when it was just a $6 upfront fee and then you paid when you drew. And then all these people at the end game decided once they drew, they weren't going to pay or they didn't want to have the license fees or whatever else. And then it just creates a lot more work for the state. So I think they just trimmed it back and said, you know what, we're going to take the money up front. If you want to go, you're going. And that's pretty much the way it works in New Mexico is once you draw the tag, there's no giving it back.
That's a good way. Again, you have the skin in the game then, and I applaud them. I understand that completely. Now, I'll tell anybody that's listening to head over to CompassWestOutfitters.com. There's a tab on there that will absolutely, if you're not excited about elk hunting or mule deer hunting or any of the other stuff that Chris offers, click on the tab called Trophy Room 2015. Start scrolling through those pictures. You're going to see some elk in there that are just bruisers. And he's got multiple years, as you scroll to the bottom, all the way back to 2006 that are Trophy Room out there. Just amazing pictures. If you've never thought about going to New Mexico for elk hunting, give Chris a call because these animals are just stunningly beautiful. And like I said, some of them are just absolute bruisers.
New Mexico has an awesome opportunity at trophy bulls on any given day for sure.
Well, great. And now, Chris, tell everybody, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The easiest way to get in touch with us is through the information tab, information request on the website. You can also email us at info@CompassWestOutfitters.com, or I always tell people that the easiest way for us to be able to help you achieve your dreams in big game hunting is to chat on the phone so we can see what your goals and hopes are. And the best way to do that is just give us a call at 505-801-7500, and that's my main office number. And my wife and I are here pretty much 7 days a week and getting to try and do what we can do to help you.
Well, and for everybody listening, I'm also going to have a link to all this information in the show notes, but I encourage you to head out, check out Chris's website. He and his wife are running a just phenomenal operation. Again, I've seen the trophies they've run out of there, and I've seen who they've done some hunting with, some people that we both know together, and it's just amazing animals. So, Chris, I can't tell you enough. I appreciate the time that you've given. Forward to seeing what we can't do for a mobility elk hunt, seeing if I can possibly get drawn in some of these prime areas that I think that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure, man. New Mexico is one of the you got to apply states.
Awesome. All right. We're going to talk later on this. I'll send you an email. And again, I appreciate your time. Chris, you have a wonderful day.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. You too.
Thank you.
Come early spring, it's getting green. Fish are on the bed. And hear those turkeys gobble. It's ringing in my head. The winterized bass boat, here comes another year. Yeah, we command the outdoors round here. Oh, we command the outdoors. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Come summertime, we're feeling fine, fishing on the lake, flipping jigs in Carolina rigs, from early morning till real late. Bonfires on the creek bank, kick back a couple beers. Yeah, we command the outdoors around here. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Next year's doesn't till you know winter's on the way. Brushing blinds and deer stands, the fever starts to creep. Fill our freezers full of ducks, lots of tender deer. Yeah, we command the outdoors around here. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Yeah, we command the outdoors. So grab your guns and shells, boys. Put on your camouflage, 'cause we command the outdoors around here. We command the outdoors.